With Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced right around the corner, Ubisoft have published their full accessibility spotlight, and there's a lot in here worth going through. Before we get into it, everything in this video comes straight from Ubisoft's own pre-release materials. These are announced features, not independently tested ones. The game drops July 9th, and I'll have hands-on coverage when it does. For now, here's everything they've confirmed. Let's start with navigation, because for a lot of blind and low vision players, this is the section that decides whether a game is actually playable or not. Resynced has a feature called Pathfinder, a toggleable GPS that draws a visible path in the world toward your current quest marker, or any marker you've placed yourself. That path works both on land and at sea, so you're never without guidance, regardless of which part of the game you're in. Paired with Pathfinder is Autopilot. You set the destination, engage Autopilot, and the jackdaw, that's your ship, sails there on its own. No manual steering required. For a game built around open ocean exploration, that combination is doing serious work. It means you can navigate the Caribbean without needing to constantly monitor your heading or manually correct course. There's also ship fast travel, which lets you jump the jackdaw between locations directly. And on top of that, an observe feature, borrowed and upgraded from Assassin's Creed Shadows, that lets you spot treasure and quest objectives at a distance, tied into a location tracker so you can find everything in a given area without having to visually sweep the environment. The map screen has been reworked too. You can navigate it without a cursor, cycling through points of interest the same way Shadows handled it, but with an added in-map quest tracker, so you can manage objectives without leaving the map view. That navigation suite, Pathfinder, Autopilot, Fast Travel, Observe, Cursor-Free Map, is genuinely comprehensive for a game of this scale. It's the thing I'm most interested to test when the game drops. Now, audio. And this is the other section I want to spend real time on, because it's the one that matters most for blind players specifically. Resynced has built-in screen narration, and not just for menus. The narration covers in-game information as well, specifically including coordinates, locations, and ship info panels. That last one is worth pausing on. Naval gameplay generates a lot of information fast. Your heading, enemy positions, damage status, nearby threats. Having that narrated rather than requiring you to read it off the screen in the middle of a broadside is a meaningful difference in who can actually play this game. There are 2 voice options for the narration, and the speed is adjustable, reportedly further than in any previous Assassin's Creed game. I'll be honest about what needs verifying here. Narration covering ship info panels in a live naval battle is a strong claim. Does it keep up? Does it cover everything or just the top level readouts? That's the specific thing I'll be testing on July 9th, and I'd love to hear from anyone in the community who gets there before I do. Beyond narration, there's an expanded audio cue system with a full glossary, so you can learn what each sound means. The naval entries are confirmed. A cue for when docking is available, for incoming collisions, for when an enemy ship has you in their sights, and positional audio cues that tell you where nearby loot is located. That positional loot cue is genuinely interesting. It's using spatial audio to carry information that would otherwise be purely visual. Gameplay captions give you text equivalents for important sounds that aren't already shown on screen, with directional indicators so you know where a sound is coming from. There's a focus mix option that suppresses less important sounds so critical audio cuts through cleanly. Configurable dynamic range lets you control the gap between the loudest and quietest sounds in the game. And every audio category has its own separate volume slider. Voice, music, character sound effects, gameplay effects, menu sounds, ambient, and sea shanties. Each with a preview sound so you know what you're adjusting before you confirm it. The design principle the team states is no audio reliance. All important information communicated by sound is also communicated visually. That's the promise the rest of this list either keeps or doesn't. Visuals and the heads-up display next, and there are a few things in here worth highlighting specifically for low vision players. The team's framing on colour blindness is worth noting. They describe the game as colourblind accessible by default where possible. That means iconography, markers, and item rarity are communicated through shape and background, not just colour difference. You shouldn't need a filter to read the core visual language of the game. Colourblind presets then extend to the parts of the interface that are still colour-coded, and importantly, they now reach gameplay visual effects too. Special attack highlights and the intuition glow effect in Eagle Vision both respond to colourblind presets. In older Assassin's Creed games, a colourblind filter might change your menus but leave gameplay effects untouched. That gap is closed here. There's also a separate layer of visual effects customization. You can individually control docking highlights, area of interest glow, telegraphed attack indicators, and parry sparks. So if you find those effects helpful for tracking what's happening in combat, you can turn them up. If they're overwhelming or create visual noise, you can reduce or remove them. For the heads-up display, you can toggle everything at once or element by element using keyboard shortcuts or presets. Text size, icon size, and opacity are all adjustable, and you can add high contrast backgrounds to heads-up display elements to improve readability. And that setting now extends to in-world interaction prompts as well, not just the fixed display. If you've ever struggled to read a floating context prompt in a busy environment, that's the fix. Motion blur, screen shake, and camera effects are all toggleable. These are specifically called out for naval combat and minigames, which tend to be the most visually intense moments. Camera sway during naval gameplay, which was present in the original Black Flag, has been removed entirely by default. Not optional, just gone. There's a persistent camera dot, a fixed point at the center of the screen, sitting on top of all other elements. The size and color are both customizable. And Eagle Vision provides temporary high contrast between important elements and their backgrounds, which is useful for picking out targets and objectives in cluttered environments. Field of view adjustment is available on PC. Console players don't have that one. Ubisoft says it's locked for performance reasons. Controls. I'll keep this section moving since it's less specific to low vision play, but there are a couple of details worth flagging. Full remapping is in, with menus split by gameplay context, so on-foot bindings and naval bindings are handled separately. Ubisoft describe it as the deepest remapping yet for an Assassin's Creed game. Holds can be swapped to toggles for a wide range of actions. Left-handed button swaps are available. Axis inversion is granular, configurable separately for on-foot, ship, aiming, camera, and world map navigation. Dead zone and threshold settings cover both sticks and triggers. The one detail I'd specifically flag for low vision players in this section: proximity action prompts at sea. Docking, boarding, and looting prompts now snap to the screen edges when you're in interaction range. That means you don't need to precisely aim at or visually locate a target to trigger the action. Being close enough is enough. Small change, real difference if fine targeting is difficult for you. Auto walk, area loot in one button press, lock on camera, and camera auto follow are all in. Mouse and keyboard, controllers, and mixed input are all supported with automatic switching. On gameplay settings, difficulty is adjustable separately for naval, ground, stealth, and activities. Underwater sections can be toned down in two ways: in-game items that reduce oxygen drain and increase your health, or a full toggle in settings that removes the oxygen limit and shark attacks entirely. Stalking and chasing missions are less likely to hard fail on you. QuickTime events can be skipped. Aim assistance has 4 levels. Assassinations always succeed. That's everything Ubisoft have confirmed ahead of July 9th. The feature set on paper is strong. Navigation and screen narration in particular are doing serious work for blind and low vision players if they hold up in practice. The thing I'm watching most closely is the narration in live naval combat. That's where the claim gets stress tested. I'll have a full hands-on once the game is out. If you're playing it on launch day, drop a comment and tell me what the screen narration is actually like during a broadside. That's the one I need a community answer on. Black Flag Resynced is out July 9th on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC.